Hello everyone and welcome to the Masters Competition. I'm Jean-Paul Manu. Today's Money Masters Competition comprises 3 professional investors and a novice, each provided with $500,000 to invest. The participants have invested in stocks, bonds, and collective investment schemes, and they have been sharing their strategies over this one-year period. At the end of the period, the top portfolio manager will be declared. So let's continue with the Masters on this very exciting journey. Welcome back. On today's program, we are joined by all 3 professionals: Andre Yap, our professional from CUFMC Management Limited; Chrevaughn Legister, our professional from Proven Wealth; and Timar Jackson, our professional from NCB Capital Markets Limited. Gentlemen, Andre, you recently bought Supreme Ventures. Why?
I bought it on a pullback, so the price of the security pulled back a little bit. It was about 19, 20, and it pulled down to like $15. So I thought that was an opportunity to take the plunge into Supreme Ventures on a pullback. It's a vice. Traditionally, in this type of environment, vices aren't really highly susceptible to a decline in demand. So I expect the economic performance or the financial performance to not be as significantly impacted as other type of companies that I currently have in my portfolio. So, for example, people don't necessarily pull back on vices even in time of economic distress. They're still going to buy the beer, still going to gamble, they're still going to smoke. It's not something they don't resort to because, quite frankly, of the addictive nature of the product. So it's hard for them to curtail spending on that. So I expected it to continue to perform well. What I thought was working for me as well is that some of the loss-making segments of the company, such as the horse racing, the gaming lounges, those are affected by COVID. Those would not be in operation anymore. So it removed that negative burden on the company's bottom line. However, the sports betting segment, which became positive last year and continued that positive trend this year of actually being a net earner for the company, that would have been negatively impacted. But I still thought, it's still a good plunge to take going forward and see if we can eke out some gains. The earnings report came out recently. And of course, the earnings report wasn't in fact impacted that heavily by COVID because COVID kind of hit us in March at the end of the quarter. So there are 2 months of everything going well and then 1 month of, the poop hitting the fan. But their earnings were still good, and I expect them to still perform well going forward. However, the one thing that might impact them is if we have these significant lockdowns continuously. That might impact the company going forward. So I thought, essentially, it's a good defensive play, and I think that the company will perform well. I think that investors should probably, in this environment, I expect investors to kind of look towards that type of company as well to add to their portfolio. So I was hoping you take a bounce off of that.
Okay, all right.
As good or as crazy?
Gentlemen, would you like to weigh in? You agree with Andre?
So I'm not quite sure about SVL. So I think SVL may face some challenges in the future. I mean, you've probably seen in the media recently where they could get some added competition in the lottery segment because I think betting, gaming, and lotteries is now reviewing an application. I'm not sure if it's granted as yet. I'm open for any correction, but I think they're reviewing the application now. And I know the lottery earnings is a big part of SVL. So, I mean, that added competition could them in the future. I mean, yes, they have first move advantage, and they, as a monopoly now, they control the market share, but they could face some challenges in the future. In terms of the technicals of the company, I really have not paid much attention to that company at all.
Okay, but the Andre's tactic in going for that company based on his reasoning seems sound to you otherwise? In the present.
Yeah.
Timar, any thoughts?
I think I understand Andre's logic for taking on SPL at the time he did. with respect to the horse racing segment, yes, there was a shutdown of that, but I think there was some more recent news indicating that they may be looking to reopen it. So we might need to pay a little bit more attention to that part of it, because as you'd have indicated before, it is a loss-making segment. So if they bring that back on stream, you know, you combine that with the fact that activity overall in the betting and the lotteries, regular betting section, and the lottery section, or segments, sorry, those might be a bit curtailed at this time due to the restricted hours. I mean, you only have 6 to 6 now, right? Previously, you would have had more time to be able to run bets and all of that. So have to be mindful of those things. But I do understand his logic for taking it down at the time.
See, my mindset,
Sure.
the 66 doesn't necessarily hurt that much, because the game that's impacted the most by the curtailed hours are the cashback games. And cashback is the highest payout game that they have. So that being negatively impacted, you know, that works for me.
Okay. All right, that's fair. And we have seen across the board, as you've all mentioned, I think that sports have taken a real hit at this time with COVID. Timar, you added 138 student living to your portfolio. What was your reasoning behind that?
I added 138 to my portfolio. It was earlier in the calendar year, pre-COVID becoming a concern. It was based on two things. One, the fundamentals showed a strong data rebound. I think it was in the December quarter, which I thought was good news for the company, because for some time they've been having some challenges with losses, right? Secondly, there was a sort of momentum play there for me. I saw where the stock was actually rallying, you know. So I decided that I was going to jump in at the time to see what happens, you know. It wasn't supposed to be a long-term play for me. It was really supposed to be a short-term play to take advantage of the rally. But by the time, you know, I got in, it seemed that, you know, COVID became an immediate concern, and the stock prices started to plunge. I mean, the fundamentals, if we look at it for the previous quarter, I really don't expect very good news. I know they're exposed to the rental market and the short-term rental market in particular. They're exposed to the UE students renting their properties as well. Right. So when we look at what is going on, you know, some students, some other halls of residence I know would have had to, you know, some students would have had to vacate.
Yes.
So that's a negative. I'm not exactly sure what the arrangement is in terms of payment. But for sure, the short-term segment of that business will be significantly affected, because, you know, persons coming in for short-term looking for places to rent and support that would have traditionally stayed in those halls wouldn't see those volumes anymore, right? Because of the restriction in traveling. So,
yes.
You know, I'll have to reassess how I treat with that situation before the competition ends. But suffice to say is that I took a bet on it at the time when it was really, you know, was really a period where there was a rally, fundamentals looked strong. Yeah.
Okay, Andre, Chrevaughn, any thoughts?
I feel his pain. I mean, I've had certain, I feel his pain twofold. So I had a similar situation with Jamaica producers where I acquired it prior to COVID, and then COVID come, and as I said before, boxes food out of my mouth. And I feel his pain in terms of, you know, making a short-term momentum play, and then by the time you get in, the momentum just done on you, and it start got down already. So you get that high. I feel that pain with Jamaica Teas earlier in the competition when I bought that on momentum, and then when I got in, the momentum was done and gone. So I had to get rid of it at a loss. So I feel it's pain. These things happen when you're trying to eke out some gains. And there you go. You can't criticize. You're trying to win. That's what you need to do. Play with house money, and you're trying to win. So it must go.
Yeah.
Your best.
And that's true. I mean, as Yap said before, no guts, no glory. So I can see where those moves by Timar at the time being in a close third position and not very far from Yap, who was leading at the time. I could see where certain risks had to be taken, and oftentimes, I mean, going off momentum in a competition like this, I can't blame a competitor for doing that at all. Truth is that this is more of a trading competition if you consider the short period of time, and then how much time would have been left before the end of the competition. So I can understand a move like that being made, and I think there was a lot of buzz at the time regarding that upward momentum for 138 student living. That there was big talk about it. Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just unfortunate where the situation that we have ended up in. I mean, it's important to point out that under different circumstances, these are probably securities that you would have continued to hold and ride out this climate. But we don't have the luxury of that. There's just months left in this competition, and we just have to see how best. Well, at least I can speak for myself. How best it is now, I can make it back to that principal amount as close to it as possible.
Right, absolutely. We are in the home stretch, as you're saying, Chrevaughn, and this situation has really been a problem. Andre, you wanted to add something?
Yeah. I was just going to follow up on what Chrevaughn was just saying. So, I mean, as you were saying, you make these plays with the information you have at the time. You build your portfolio a particular way. Last week I said I built my portfolio for a boom time. I touched on stocks that I thought would perform well in a boom. So you do these things with the information you have at the time, anticipating positive results, based on the fundamentals, based on your knowledge and your expertise. And, you kind of have the rug pulled out from under you. And you have to adjust. But at the same time, like I said previously, you also have to take the consideration that you don't only have the rug pulled under you from this competition perspective. Working in the financial sector, you have the rug pulled under you as a professional as well, and you have to kind of try and balance and rally and fulfill all the obligations, so to speak, and get it done. So it's a difficult situation to balance, and especially for a big guy like me that don't really have much balance to begin with. So we do our best, and we try, and as you can see, it's friendly competition. We want to win, but we have respect and admiration for each other. So I enjoy participating and relating to these guys.
Great. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you for taking the time to speak with us today, but we're going to have to leave it there. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Andre Yap, our professional from CUFMC Management Limited, Chrevaughn Legister, our professional from Proven Wealth, and Timar Jackson, our professional from NCB Capital Markets. Thank you all again for joining us today, and best of luck in the waning weeks of this competition. Okay.
Thank you, John Paul.
All right, JP. Take care.
All right, thanks guys. That's where we're going to have to leave it for today. Join us next week, same time, for another exciting episode of the Masters Competition. Follow the pros and the one novice each week on the Masters Competition. Listen and analyze the strategies with the Masters on Radio Jamaica Thursdays at 8:45 a.m. as they challenge each other to stay ahead. Also, look out for their portfolios in the Gleaner. The Masters Competition is a product of Today's Money Incorporated, brought to you in partnership with NCB Capital Markets Limited, Money Masters Limited, and Proven Wealth. I'm Jean-Paul Manu. The Masters is another fine product from Today's Money Limited.